What is your experience? This is the number one most asked question on interviews, and it can really make or break whether you're going to make it to the second interview or get hired. So the way you answer it is crucial. In this video, you're going to learn exactly how to answer that question, even if you have zero experience in the job you're applying for. You're also going to see 8 real-life people on a group interview who answer this exact question, who are looking to get hired as a remote appointment setter. And you're going to see me giving them feedback on exactly how to improve their answers using a proven framework that I have used to get hundreds of people, literally hundreds of people, hired in these exact same remote closing and remote appointment setting positions. So without further ado, let's hop right into the video.
We're going to do a mock group interview. I'm going to be the interviewer. I'm going to ask you guys all this question, and we're going to go one by one. The first question being, what is your previous work experience? Okay, now, if you have sales experience, lean on your numbers specifically. As specific as you can be as possible. For 3 years, I worked in real estate. I sold over, $50 million in home and had a clientele roster over 150 people. At the beginning of my sales career, I was closing at 20%, and by the end, I was closing at 30%. If you don't have experience, you just need to really have enthusiasm, hunger, energy, and just be like, thank you so much for the question. I really feel as though, although I'm sitting here, the only guy at this table without tangible experience on this, what I can tell you is that over the 4 years I've been working as a restaurant server, every single person I've spoken to has walking in with a medium expression. They've walked out with a smile on their face. And that's all because of the interaction that I created and the experience that I let them have. And I think my rapport building skills have gotten to a point of mastery. And if I can translate that into this position and study, grind, work every day, I think I'd be a valuable asset to any company. Right? If you say that, it's like, whoosh, mic drop. You're like, holy crap, this guy's awesome. Okay. Oh, is that cool with everyone? Everyone's cool with doing a little group role play here. Anyone have any questions before going into this group role play?
Let's go for it. Let's get it.
Cool. Okay, welcome in here, guys. Thank you, everyone, for hopping into fitness.com company. Basically, our company works with women aged 45 to 65 who are looking to drop 35 pounds, achieve the weight of their dreams without any of the stress, hassle. Basically, how this interview is going to go, guys, is I'm going to ask you all a question, give each of you about a minute to answer. If I think you guys are going to be a good fit, I'll roll you into a one-on-one call with me. If not, I'll send you guys a special resource. And also, I'll leave questions at the end for you guys to ask me anything if you need anything as well. Okay. First things first, let me just assign an order here for how we're going to answer these. Let's roll with Ivan. You'll go first. Kurt second. Lorena third. Gabriel fourth. Cortez fifth. Martin sixth. Tanya seventh, and then Edgar eighth. Okay. First thing I just want to ask you guys is just kind of tell me about your experience in sales so far, kind of what brings you to the remote sales, industry, what you've kind of achieved in the past, that kind of thing.
Yeah, Ethan, I go first, right? So yeah, thanks for having me. That's a really good question. I'm really passionate about sales. First off, my experience when I was 18, I launched my own agency. And well, of course, it was a period where I had to wear all the hats, including sales, very focused on sales. And I really had not really a full understanding on how to proceed and do things. But somehow I did manage to close, bringing 18,000 bottom line revenue over the period of a year. And yeah, that is not having any idea and having closes through multiple calls. But then eventually I decided that sales was what I wanted to dedicate myself to. So since then I've been really putting in the work. I have more than 40 hours on mock calls and just role plays. I've invested heavily on coaching on one-on-one, and I've had a couple of experiences as an appointment setter, towards which I've generated over $42,000 over the period of 2 months as a DM and phone setter.
Awesome. Awesome. So we'll keep rolling on. Before we go on to the next person, guys, I'm just going to pause the role play for a second. I want to give each of you quick feedback before I move on, and that'll actually help you guys build on the last person who just went. So maybe you can incorporate that in your answer. Ivan, great. I think the heaviest thing for you to lean on there, dude, is the 42,000 you've already generated as a setter is massive. I might mention like how much the product was for. Is that revenue? Is that cash? How long you were in that business for? And then the other thing, man, is like, if possible, same thing, like increase your energy just a little bit. You know, like, hey, Ethan, what's going on? Thank you for the question. Funny enough, I actually started in an agency position, had no idea what the hell I was doing. I ended up closing over 18K over 2 years. Got a little bored, so I moved into boo 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 boo. So I think when you were talking about your agency as well, you could condense that so that you want to get as quickly as possible to that like appointment setter experience, because that's like going to be the biggest leverage point for you.
Yeah, and on top of that, that was like a fitness related offer, so it would be like, yeah, related to what it is that we are looking for. But yeah, that's great.
Yeah. Cool. Okay. Back in the role play. Next up.
Ethan, how you doing?
I'm good, Kurt. How you doing?
Good, great. So yeah, I have about 6 or 7 years in the fintech and financial services space. As a opener for the company, our KPIs were about, we had to make 100, 150 cold calls on a daily basis. So that's where I hone my discovery call skills, and my quotas are around 7 to 8 deals on a monthly basis, and I did about 100, 150% of my quota. So I have a intensive, I would say, transferable skills that will, work well with this current position that I'm going for right now. And the reason why I'm here because I want to pivot into the remote closing space, even though I have sales in the tech sales role, and I would love to, be an asset to the company and show you what I could do for you.
Okay, killer. Kurt,
Yep.
Okay, I'll tell you what you got and what you don't got, my man. You got the energy. I love it. Okay, that's good.
Thanks.
That's good. You want to bring that. What you don't got is the video setup. Okay, you
No,
got
no, I know. I'm sorry. You know what it is? I'm on my laptop right now, and my computer is right here. I usually use my computer, and yeah. I apologize. I didn't mean to get. I didn't even think we can get on camera, to be honest. So
yeah,
I wouldn't do this on a real interview, to be honest. If
cool.
If you see this computer right here, that's what I will be on.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, I just want to double check. Okay, cool.
Yeah, I will never do this on an interview. Trust me. Like a real interview, no, never.
Cool. Okay.
Yeah, but everything would be, yeah.
Cool, dude. And then so with your answer too as well, man, like what you're talking about with numbers, fantastic. Lean on that. I always like suggest people utilize more story basis kind of stuff. So you can be like, when I was 23, I entered a, cold calling telemarketing business because I had a huge ambition for sales and wanted to learn it, because like I really needed the money and I knew sales was like the fastest way to do that. I made all these calls, KPIs, all that stuff was perfect. Yeah. And then you have to just like your reason for leaving. I ended up leaving that because cold calls are tough. When I found the remote closing industry, I found like I could do outbound calls with warm leads. I was sold on the spot. So that brings me to where we are today on this call.
Perfect. I'm actually going to use that, actually. You can write that down.
Yeah. And by the way, guys, this is all recorded, so you guys can reference this after the call as well. I'll make sure to upload it so you guys all have the notes.
All right, perfect. So, is it a different way I should approach appointment setter versus? Well, I'm going to focus on appointment setter. Forget the closed part. Let me get in the industry first.
So if you've done cold calls, dude, you should mention how like I mastered cold calls. It was like hard as hell, but like I did it. And now when I see outbound calling, man, 100 dials, 150 dials a day, no problem for me. Because like if you're 150 dials a day as a setter is like the like almost like the apex. Like that's like really, you're really pushing it. So if you're saying like I could do that, no problem, then they're gonna be like, oh, this is our guy. He's gonna work. He's gonna hustle.
All right, perfect, perfect.
Yeah. Cool though. Good. Keep that energy up. It's good.
All right, thanks.
Back into role play. Okay. Next up, who else we got?
Hey, real quick, guys, if you want to be on one of these calls and join our elite community of people who are getting jobs in this exact industry at rapid paces, then click one of the links down below and apply to our community, Clash of Closers.
Hi, Ethan. Nice to meet you. I'm so excited. I like to share my story a little bit, my background. I was burnout broadcaster. I worked for an international, multi-level, international radio and television in Toronto. And in my late 20, came across of a multi-level marketing. So I got introduced to it, and it was a product, health and nutrition. And I loved it. I got started, and it was hardworking because it was all door to door, one person to the other person, through referrals. And then we upgraded. We had some calls, Zoom webinar. And in 3 years, I was able to bring in consistently my numbers. They were $10,000 a month in product sales. And with that, to give you some numbers, we would call people, and I would sell the product. 5 people we call, 1, 2 would buy the product. And from that, we recruited a team of sales rep. And my numbers there were exactly 1 out of 10 distributors that I would recruit in my team. So I was able to build a team of 50 reps in 1 year, and able to sell over $1 million in 3 years. So now I got introduced to the high ticket sales, and my mind went crazy because I noticed that, with outbound call, it was something that I wanted to really learn and grow. And I think, Ethan, if you don't mind, I would love to have a triage call, and I can show you what I can do and how I can show up to the clients. And I would love to replicate that $1 million for sure.
Killer. Okay, pause. I have some notes for you, Lorena. Also, you have great energy, which is good, right? You do have like a good story you're building out on, but I'm going to give you some feedback on a couple of things here, if that's okay. Okay. 1, I don't ask for the triage call or on this group interview, right? You're going to get a feel for it or not. I guess in this case, like you really just want to answer the exact question he's answering concisely well, and then move on to the next one. Okay. One thing you missed in your story that I would have loved to hear is the reason for your transition out of like your MLM sales gig. Because in my mind, I'm like, holy crap, like $3 million in 3 years or whatever you said. I'm like, that's a lot of money. Like, why would she be looking to be a setter? Did she, scam a bunch of people and move to a different country, and now she's looking for remote gigs? Like, who is this woman? Right?
No, I can add it there for you. So it means there, my transition would be, in my previous experience, I had to wear too many hats. I was the coaching all the distributors, then dealing with the clients, do the follow-up. So I had too many hats. And here I just have to focus with the clients and make the sales. So this is the transition that I want to have.
Oh, so you were like a business owner?
Yes.
Okay. And you could see that, like, just like how like you ran your own business. I've seen a lot of like new applications asking for sales reps being like, hey, like, have you run a business before? Because a lot of sales reps either come from a background of sales, have no experience, or they're coming from like running an agency or something where they've had to do sales as a byproduct of their business. So yes. I would say that. 3 million in 3 years. Is that what you said?
No, 1 million in product sale and 1 million to rep in 3 years.
1 million to what?
When you recruited the distributor.
When you recruit
So
a distributor, okay.
yes, I built an organization, a distributor that was creating $1 million. And I get the 5% of that, actually even 9% because it is level
And
in the
okay, so
company.
were those like millions, were they created by you? Like were you having
The first
conversations with
one by
people?
me, selling product
Yeah.
and building preferred customers. They were totally in product sales.
And that was like
Um,
cash collect, like $1 million cash collected.
Yeah, in 3 years, yeah. And then I duplicate a team of people that duplicate what I was doing, and they created for the company $1 million, which I was making 9% from it.
And how much was that product?
The cost?
Yeah.
Oh, is that you could buy, we would sell 3 options. So one would be 250, one could be 500, one could be 700. Depends. Every year was a little bit of a change in product options.
But all below 1,000, right?
Yes.
Okay. Because one thing with your story, Lorena, that I think you could improve on is like there's buzzwords in this industry that if you say them, the hiring manager is immediately like, oh, this person's in, like they're in the cool guys club. So when you say things like cash collected, and I think you said webinar as well, like you got leads from
Yes.
like
Yes.
like a lot of these companies get leads from webinars. So if you use words like leads, webinars, cash collected, low ticket product, so you're selling a $250 to $700 product. This is the main part of your like story that I'd focus on and say like, when did you join this? It was like when you were 20s?
My late 20s. So I was 29.
When you were 29? Yeah, you could say like, yeah, when I was 29, I joined a multi-level marketing company, and I was responsible for selling low ticket products between $250 to $700. And over 3 years, I personally cash collected over $1 million.
Mhm.
But over my time there, I started wearing more hats than just sales. I started managing clients. I started dealing with distributors and wearing multiple hats. It was way too much. And now I'm at the point where I just want to do what I'm good at, what I like doing, which is selling over the
Mhm.
phone.
Yeah.
You know, that's a way better way than saying like all these different, words that you're talking about, like all the stuff with the distributor, I would like leave out because there's so many follow-up questions
Yes.
that lead to
It's
that.
confusing. Yeah.
Yeah, it can be a little confusing.
Okay. I mastered that. Thank you.
Cool. Okay, sweet. Hopefully this is helpful to everyone. Up next.
Yeah, that would be me. Well, thanks for having me, Ethan. I don't have any strict sales experience. I did have, like, I worked a job when I was 15, 16 for a friend, and that was Instagram DMs outreach, and I did quite a few DMs there. So I guess there's some kind of translation from that experience. But I can definitely tell you why I'm interested in remote closing, and that's because I actually used to have social anxiety. I couldn't even order a coffee, and I set myself a challenge to approach like 100 strangers in 30 days. And ironically, I kind of fell in love with the process of like kind of facing rejection and just kind of trying to sell yourself in like really short amount of time. And that's actually why I want to get started in this industry. So, yep.
Well, Gabriel, you don't have to worry about getting rejected here. I'm accepting you with open arms, man. Good job. Good fucking job. Give a little kind of. Nice job, man. Yes. Okay, dude. Awesome. So, if I was going to give you some feedback, dude, because you're one of the only one of the only 2 guys in here that's coming from with 0 sales experience. But I would say you doing DM sales is actual experience. That's why you said it, right? So how, do you do that for a couple months, a year? Like how long did you do that
Yeah,
for?
it was like maybe 3, 4 months. I think probably I sent around 2,000 to 3,000 messages overall.
When you were like 15 or 16?
Yeah. It was with a friend.
And how old are you now?
I'm 18 now.
You're 18 now? Okay,
Yeah.
cool. So dude, you've got things working for you that if you pulled the levers right, dude, people would love you. Okay? Your age can be an asset because when they look at a young guy, 18, 19, they see someone with like their whole life ahead of them who can like invest 100, like you don't have a kid, you don't have dogs, you don't have responsibilities. It's like this, this kid can give me his life right now. He's hungry. He wants to make money. And if he makes money, I'm going to make money. Right. So if you can really lean on, like I'm 18 right now, but when I see this industry, I get super excited because I know there's so much opportunity and I'm going to make not only a lot of money for myself, but a lot of money for you.
Yeah.
I would not be afraid, dude, to show that your motivation is money. That is one of the sole motivations for like young men is they just want to like grow, get better, and make a lot of money.
Yeah,
Right. So I think self improvement and money. So if you lean on that in some of your answers, that'd be good. And the other thing here, dude, is your experience with the DMs. Highlight that. Don't say that's not sales experience because it is. You want to position it more like when I was 15, I had the first spike of sales in my mind that I was interested. My buddy was running a business at the time, and he needed someone to do DM setting. And so I sent out probably 2,000 to 3,000 DMs to sell a low ticket product of $50. Right. I didn't end up, something like that. Right. And that's when I realized like, sales could make me a lot of money because I made, a good amount of money from that venture.
Yeah.
Right. And then you take that story into I'm 18 now and I'm hungry. I'm ready. I want more.
Okay.
Lastly, dude, I would not in an interview setting mention your past anxieties with social interactions. And the reason is, I mean, for obvious reasons, but it's like it's just a red flag that if someone has social anxiety once, they're always going to have social anxiety unless they're like completely like you can tell on the call they're the most charismatic person ever.
Yeah.
Right. There's going to be this inkling like, okay, so this kid used to have social anxiety. He probably still has some now because he's not like amazingly charismatic. So I would just, keep that as your story. Once you get really like what I mean by that is like once you get really fucking good at sales, dude, and you're making tons of money, then whip out that part of your story. Like, actually, I used to be, anxious, but right now, dude, you're part of the story, and the area that you're in your life right now is like learning, self-improvement, making money, hustling, staying inside 12 hours a day and doing whatever you got to do to just focus.
Yeah.
Right. And also, dude, with your camera setup, I might move it back a bit so you see.
Yeah. I'm changing it in a couple of days, actually, about a new camera.
Cool.
So
cool. Awesome. Good.
Thank you.
Job. Awesome, man. And good job, dude. It's good meeting you too. First time I'm seeing you in here.
Yeah, nice to meet you too.
Cool. Okay, cool. Back in a role play. Who do we have next to answer the question?
What's up, Ethan?
What's up? How's it going?
It's going pretty good. So I have done like 2 months of door-to-door sales. I did it for a little bit, but I figured out it wasn't for me personally. So I went in, joined the military about 5 years, trained like about 5 people, and then I have like pretty good athletic skills, so I trained them up, and I would really like to do this position.
You trained. So wait. So just to clarify for me, you trained up 5 people in the military?
Yeah, I trained up 5 people. I was a tank gunner for about 4 years, and I trained up 4 people because in the Army you have to work on athletics. So.
Okay. And what is it that you're doing now for work?
I'm a truck driver now.
Truck driver now. Okay. Got it. And you've been doing that since the military?
Yes, I've been doing that since I got out.
Got it. Okay. Cool. The thing with your story, man, there is again leverage points, which is you being in the military is a huge one that the companies love, right? The door-to-door sales, unfortunately, though, because it happened before you went to the military, it would come across like you tried it, but then you hated it, or like you know what I mean? And it's like you don't like sales to begin with, right? So I might let's just talk about the military thing for now, because your military story, dude, like the best way to frame that, I think like the success rate of people who've been military in business is like ridiculously high. And it's just because of the mental models and frameworks, discipline that you adopt when you're in the military. I used to have one of my setters was like a Marine, and he was like always just organized, right? And so, what you want to position your story in a way, man, where you're like, I'm just gonna forget about the door-to-door sales thing for now,
Okay.
and I would position it like, by the way, when did you join the military,
I joined the military in 2019.
and how old were you?
I was 19.
You were 19. Okay, that's what I thought. Okay, cool. So you want to be like, okay, awesome. When I was 18 years old, I really struggled with organization and focus. And I thought the best thing for me at that time was joining the military. So for 5 years, I focused on discipline, organization, and just really creating the right attitudes where I could see success in any area of my life. And within 2 years, I was actually leading a team of 5 people in the military because of my strength and aptitudes that my, leading captain saw in me, right? By the end of that 5-year period, I left the military, and at the time, a buddy of mine, had a really great opportunity for me where I could be, driving cars and delivering packages for him. And I needed the money after the military. So I took that job, but it's just not what I'm looking for. And since being on this job, I've been spending 5 hours a day on audio calls, listening to sales training, sales books, and doing everything that I can to, learn the skill set of sales and grow and master it. And something along the lines of that, right? And like you have to have like a closer at the end of that. But you see how I'm kind of framing the story?
Yeah, because since I had like a lot of stuff I did in the military and stuff, I just didn't know how to format it. You know what I mean? So that's why I was thinking so much. But I understand what you're saying.
And you could go into ChatGPT or something and find things you learn in the military that are applicable into the business world, like top 5 things, and just use that in your story and be like, I learned this, 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 and this.
I already got a few things. Leadership, timeliness, organization, stuff like that. Because you have to do that, and then after that, being able to train someone to change them physically, like working them out, because as an army can't be fat. So yeah, you know what I mean.
I think organization and discipline are probably the 2 best ones that I think like you definitely need is like discipline in sales, and you definitely need organization as like a setter.
Okay.
Right. Yeah, and just say as well at the end of that, like, whatever I end up getting placed in for a sales position, I'm going to dedicate myself 100% to it, just like I did in the military, to serve my country.
Yeah. All right, no problem.
Cool. Love it, dude. Love it. Oh, and then also when you do the interview, make sure the phone's like down and it's like static and you're not like moving around. I had a guy on an interview with me once who was like on his phone on the street. He didn't even get accepted for like a screening interview after, because it's like you want to be sitting down, paying attention, and ideally wearing something like business casual as well. Like I think the shirt that you're wearing now is like casual, but you want like business casual. In my opinion, I mean, you can play around with that. I don't have to define what business casual looks like, but
All right, no problem. I got some button notes, but you know what I mean.
yeah, I gotcha. Cool. Back into role play. And next up, who do we have?
Okay, so that would be me. Hi.
Hi.
You're speaking to Tanya. It's nice to finally speak to you. So, what has drawn me to sales is the fact that I enjoy engaging with people and overcoming objections. When I was around 20, I started selling jewelry door to door. This is jewelry that I made myself, and I generated between $800 to $1,200 a month for over around about a 2.5-year span. I mainly did cold calls, and I did in-person sales. I transitioned into a remote setting. Well, I'd like to transition into remote setting because I like to expand my reach and basically serve a more broader audience efficiently.
Cool. Cool. Thank you for your answer. Okay. Awesome. So Tanya, awesome. You have real world experience to draw on, which is fantastic. Just some notes with the camera and stuff in the future. Go horizontal when you're on a Zoom call instead of like the vertical phone thing. I love the way you speak. You know, it's so soft and it's like so caring. It's just like smooth. Like you could be on radio. It's so nice. Right? It's like I could talk to you all day, right? Where you could add to your voice, both to have people like receive you, but especially on interviews where energy matters so much, is like the smiling, like happy to be here energy. Whereas right now, how I'm receiving you is a little like timid, which fair enough, you might be. There's 8 people on this call you've never met before, and you know we've never had a formal conversation, yada yada yada. So that might be true, right?
Yeah.
But what we need to do is like, you know, rotate the camera horizontally and like just really practice just like the smiling and energy of just like, hey, I'm so glad we connected, Ethan. So yeah, my experience comes back to when I'm 22 years old and I actually made my own jewelry, started my own business, was doing in-person sales, selling anywhere between $800 to $1,200 a month in product. And how long did you do that for, Fania?
Around about 2.5 years.
About 2.5 years. And then did you go right from that into this?
No, I did a number of things. I've taught English online before. I have been a translator in the past. I've been a communications officer for a bit as well. And I work on a cruise line as well.
Okay. And you work on a cruise, and is that what you do right now?
Yes, that's what I do right now.
Okay. So then what we would do is we'd want to connect the jewelry to then you working on the cruise line, because like that's what you're doing right now, and then mention like why you're transitioning out of that right now. So what I might say is like, you know, it's not like a resume. They're going to actually see the gap in your resume of like, what were you doing for 4 years? You're just going to say like, I was selling jewelry for like 2 to 3 years, doing this, what I just said. And then I joined a cruise line as a, you know, crew member associate, you know, and I've been doing that for the last 5 years, been conducting conversations every single day with new members on board. And it's been a cool job, but it just doesn't really give me what I need in terms of earnings. And so when I saw the remote closing space, I got really interested in having these conversations with people and kind of expanding what I can do here. You've taught different languages too. So how many languages do you speak?
So I've taught English. I've also taught French, and I'm learning Mandarin.
Wow. Yeah. So that's a big thing to mention too, right? Is saying on the cruise line or leading up to the cruise line, because it's international. I also, you know, learned French, Mandarin, English, so I can speak to multiple different customers. That's people ask that on interviews or applications all the time because there's different offers that sell to different audiences.
All right.
Okay. But great. Yeah, you got the smooth, buttery kind of radio voice. It's good.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Okay, we're chugging away here. Next up.
Yeah, I think it's supposed to be me. So, hey, I'm Martin. I'm from Ukraine, so might have a bit of accent. So when I was 21, I worked in clothing store before, and I helped customers to find right clothes and understand their needs. And I really enjoyed making their shopping experience really easy and enjoyable. Now I have moved to Toronto, and I work as a waiter. I love my job because I can make people feel welcome and leave a smile on their face. And like, yeah. And at the same time, I'm learning to be a salesperson. I have already done more than 45 hours of mock calls to improve my skills, and I want to become an appointment setter. And I'm hungry to develop my skills and achieve my goals, and of course, making more money. I enjoy working with people, and I always try to give the best service possible.
Nice. Okay, cool, dude. So, dude, not bad. I like how you tell your story, and it's good. Everything that like every sentence that you say, it sounds like you're making like one statement after another, And I think like with your English, you need to add that emotional flexibility to words you want to highlight, right? And so that keeps it. So I'm focused on what you're saying, on like what aspect of what you're saying, right? So when you say like, well, I worked as a server for 3 years, and then from there, I found remote closing. Because I think, dude, with your cadence right now, when you're speaking long for that, what it's like a static neutral tone throughout the whole way.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like if you want to improve, you need to like bring it up, slow it down, or like soften it in certain parts to make it go higher and lower. I think
Mhm.
like the context of what you're saying is fine. It's just the again just the pronunciation of it, and also just like energy, dude, as well. If you can just like I saw you smiling a bit there, so if you keep smiling, it's like, hey, how's it going?
Mhm.
I'm your Ukrainian best friend.
Okay.
I'm the only Ukrainian on this call. Nice to meet you.
Mm-hmm.
A little bit about me. Do.
Mm-hmm. Okay, got it.
Okay. And then yeah, lean on the how much you've invested in a program, how much time, like the 45 hours in transformational based sales calls that you've practiced on.
Mhm.
Lean on that stuff because that's really important as well. And how being a server has aided you, like how many, the conversations you've had and how that's really helped you grow and learn.
Mm-hmm. Okay,
That'll
got it.
help you too.
More about numbers as well and be more specific.
Yeah, more numbers, be more specific as
Okay,
well.
got it. Thanks for feedback.
No problemo. Edgar, you want to give it a go, even though you already got this process down?
Yeah, no, definitely still practicing, still hopping on more interviews and stuff. But
Nice.
yep. Hey Ethan. Nice to or I guess thanks for giving the time. So a little bit about me, like I literally just jumped straight into sales. At 18 years old, I went right into solar door-to-door appointment setting. With them, I generated a little over $1 million in set appointments closed. And then yeah, conditions, everything, it was just not really sustainable being outside all day. So then at 20, I went ahead and I joined a car dealership team. From there, I generated over $2.5 million. I closed myself. And so, yeah, I increased my closing percentage as well from 12 to 24% in that time frame. Altogether, 1.5 years experience. And really now, I'm just really looking to get into remote sales because I just feel like really capped where I'm at. And also, I don't really like the culture that I'm in right now. And so I can really kind of get the best of both worlds here in this space.
Dude, yeah, I see how we've worked together to refine that because I remember us refining that little pitch there for you. That's
Yeah.
dude, I don't think I have any notes because it's like your answer was probably the most concise. It was very concise, like 60 seconds. Your energy was like spot on, smiling the whole way. It seemed like you were a little bit bubbly. But then also like you were specific, very good on the numbers. You were using numbers like cash collected on sets closed, total revenue, like all this stuff. It just like, okay, like this guy knows kind of what's up, right? He knows this space. I don't have to teach him everything from scratch. It's not like a complete newbie. And like the reason why you're leaving makes sense, like toxic culture, da 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 da. That's one thing that a lot of people miss out in their interviews is like, why are you leaving your current opportunity for this new thing? Right? Like what's happening that makes you leave? Because there's always that fear in the back of people's minds that like you're leaving because either you're not good enough or like you got fired or like there's some problem with you. But like you want to make it seem like you're leaving because it's your choice. Like you deserve better. And you identified this opportunity, this job as better than what you're doing.
Yeah. Okay. And then a real quick question on that. So like when they open it up, they're like, introduce yourselves, everyone. Is that an appropriate kind of answer? Like that's what you should be answering with, something like that.
Yeah. Yeah. When they say introduce yourselves, it's like exactly that thing. Like when they say like introduce yourself, it's like, what's your story? What brings you here as far as your, business career goes? As far as your career goes, kind of tell us about yourself. I made that mistake once when I met my girlfriend's dad, like an ex-girlfriend years and years ago. And he just like sat me down, cracked open a beer, and he was like, so like, what's your story? And I was like, shit, like, what is my story? So I was like, well, I was born here, and then I went to soccer practice, and then and he's like, no, like, what have you done? You know, like, what are you going,
Yeah.
like, what are your goals, son? What are you going after? And I was like, oh, okay. So I tell him, like, well, at this age, my biggest goal was this, and that didn't work out. So I did this, and then that was successful, and this happened. And so that, that's what
you want an entire ebook breaking down all the possible questions that an employer could ask you on one of these interviews and the exact frameworks of how to answer them, then you can access that inside our community, Clash of Closers, which I will link down below. Thanks again for watching the video, guys, and I will catch you in the next one.
We're here in Switzerland.